We can solve this problem 20 million times,
Exactly.
or do it 100 times, never won't benefit.
You have to be able to find use cases that can be considered quick wins, that can show results. People, platform, processes, and policies.
Right.
That's how you need to assess.
Right. Proper data.
Guys, good evening and welcome. Episode 14
No way.
of InfoMatters podcast. On this episode, we're going to cover a number of things, principally around our kind of themes of data governance with a kind of international spin, cybersecurity, bunch of educational stuff, but of course, Danny, the business of the podcast.
Yeah, educational it will be.
Yes.
So thanks again. Thanks to all our viewers. Thanks to those new and coming. You know what to do. Subscribe, ring the bell. And if you want to get in touch with us, anything InfoMatters, whether you want to suggest someone to come on the show, you generally think we're funny, or you're looking for something new in the world of IT, just pop us an email to host@infopodcastmatters. You know where it is. It's down there.
InfoMatters, but you'll never get it
So
right.
as Kenny's, we're sponsored by and powered by Xtelligence, as you know, so give them a look below, xtelligence.com. So as Kenny mentioned, we're going to cover international business development. He's a lover of artificial intelligence. He's just worked with the cyber crime squad in Latin America and thrives on data security. So Kenny, do the honours.
Yeah, I mean, what better introduction to introduce Carlitos Meza to join us
Welcome on the
this
show,
evening.
Carly.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Welcome
Thanks.
to the secret bunker. Very relevant.
Very relevant indeed.
Now, fresh inbound from, I believe, Latin America. Carlitos Carlos.
Oh, and a restaurateur. So if you want
yes.
discounts, we'll list his restaurants in
of
in the
Meza
space
Cruise
below.
fame for those who know over in Prague. Now, so we're going to go through a number of things, but best I think you give us
an intro.
From yourself, my friend.
It's a lot to cover, my friend.
It's a lot to cover indeed. Well, let me tell you, thank you so much. Thank you to Xtelligence as well for sending me the invitation. For all the viewers today, the episode today is going to be in English language. So just in case you didn't get anything about that today, it's going to be in English.
For Spanish, just click Scotch.
Exactly. For Spanish, press dos. Thank you. But moving on about
Good point.
I like that.
And for Deutsch, Kai.
Okay, let's go to the topic. Introducing myself.
Please do. Let's do it.
Welcome to all viewers. My name is Carlitos Meza. I've been living in Prague for 18 years now. Really happy to be invited for this fantastic podcast. I've been following it for a while.
Taking me a month to track him down.
Yeah.
But we know why.
I was in Latin America for a month. I just came back this past Monday. Today's a Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know which day of the week it is.
Good, no idea.
Yeah, no,
we
we
don't
lost
know.
the plot.
In those secret bunker,
Time is irrelevant.
Time's irrelevant.
So basically, to follow up on the story.
Yes.
Follow up on the story. Thank you. Let's keep track.
Good luck.
Thank you. I know. I've been working in the sector of innovation, digitalization. Now moving towards cybersecurity and AI.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
I love AI, I believe.
I know that AI is a buzzword at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to mention that I've been working on the topic with companies that are already 10 years in the market.
Interesting.
So we're doing that before it was cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. We can move that later on in a few minutes. So a little bit about myself. I'm Peruvian by origin. I was born in Lima in Peru. I've been living, as I said, 18 years in Prague. Working now, soft landing this international Czech origin group.
Yep.
It's been 20 years in the market. I'm soft landing them in Latin America. Previous to that, I was working for a really Fortune 500 pharma company.
Yep.
Working with them and managing innovation hubs across the world. Before doing that, I was working in developing capacities for this venture builder, the number one now in Europe. Working for them for 5 years now, selling them solutions, selling them ventures in Switzerland, in Germany, France, and you name it, Czech Republic for
We
sure.
find the right people, Danny, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, no, the interesting bit's going to be, with your Latin American roots.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known you for the 18 years. You've been floating around.
Yeah.
Don't remember any of it. Is the international business development side of things. How would you approach that? I mean, I know you're native Peruvian.
Yeah.
But you must, the challenges, the barriers for Central Eastern Europe must be quite...
Totally follow. I totally agree. I mean, this is not new. I mean, this is not something that just comes out of the blue.
Yeah.
You prepare yourself for it. You read, you execute, you practice and deliver.
Yeah.
You understand what are the markets. We understand markets. You understand decision factors for moving towards the goals that you want to set for the companies that you represent.
Sure.
Yep.
So basically, the idea is to see where the potential is. And the potential is basically, from my perspective, is strategic partnerships, strategic partnerships, as well as working in open innovation frameworks. We can talk about later on.
Yep.
But the concept is to be able to leverage synergies, to be able to leverage what companies are doing, what governments want to do, what end consumers need, and mixing it all up, matching it all up, and achieving some kind of achieving something that brings value to them.
And you mentioned governmental work. I mean, how did you navigate towards that segment? I mean,
everyone kind of wants to.
It's something from you and I. You're just
now,
like, you're like.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, but basically, just to give you an example. Now, I was a few weeks ago in the government palace of the Colombian government.
Colombian nobody important then.
Just.
And he's alive.
Hey,
not in a box.
I know where is the way out, man.
Yeah. Hermano, salida.
Hola. Ciao. Adios.
Ciao.
It could be a permanent ciao.
A quick waving cat.
It was not like that, but similar. So basically,
so many questions.
No, nothing like that.
Or silky gloves.
Yes, exactly.
Public sector.
We know what to
private
do.
sector.
Basically, the idea is that, as you know, I can say it specifically because it's open, it's in public, the information is there. Colombia as a government has been cyber attacked. It's the top 5 in the world.
Wow.
In
For cyber attacks.
For cyber attacks
Wow.
as a unit, as a country. So there is the expression of interest, right? The country has a need.
Sure,
The country has
For
a need
expertise.
The biggest need, if anything.
Yeah,
Governments need to be safe before anybody's safe. as well.
Exactly, you said that. You said that right. And based on that, we live in Czech Republic, in Prague, one of the key countries when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to knowledge base, when it comes to talent.
Yep.
So last year there was a mission of the Colombian government, sponsored together with the government of the Czech Republic to check it out.
Okay.
What's going on in the country. So here, you have a big behemoths in the cybersecurity scene. And
Well, you mentioned one that we've all worked for.
Yeah,
we worked in Switzerland with Novartis.
Exactly.
When we were there, and they had skills and knowledge coming from all over Eastern Romania. We always used to call them the Romanian army.
Yeah.
Top guys. And the massive, great capability, blue, red team, purple, whatever colour they were. Well, blue, red team, principally. And I imagine with these partnerships in mind, the government, if it's being targeted, has the similar risks of any other, but theirs have been exploited, so they now need, or they have a higher need for skills, right?
Exactly. You said it right. And that's the reason they came to Prague, came to Europe to check it out. We make the connections. I just came back from there. We visit them. The reason is because they need talent, they need knowledge, and there's this expression of interest when it comes to creating memorandums of understanding, letter of intents, to match up the interests of the government with private sector.
Interesting.
In order to go together to solve their issues. Not only that, I was also visiting the cyber crime unit of the Colombian police,
right?
Where basically they are actually making the efforts to counterattack those initiatives coming from turning to felonies.
And you were even mentioning, you mentioned, we're having a quick chit chat before, and saw some interesting pictures.
Yeah.
The organised crime security wise within prisons, and those packs or whatever.
Exactly.
Packs.
Exactly. What it does is they make raids within the confinements of jails. And then take all these electronic devices and they make it part of a case. Yeah, they make it part of a case. Exactly. And they have extract data units. They have units going to talking about malwares and whatnot.
I was going to say most people relate, no disrespect, to our Colombian buddies, Colombia with the
drugs cartels.
We're more talking hackers, I imagine these days.
Exactly.
Within the confinements.
I imagine in my head, organised crime forms many things. I think drugs in many countries funds to some degree that organised crime, whatever flavour it comes in. We know
Mr. Sniff.
Yeah, it's the case. Maybe it's probably has a global supply chain and it extends or whatever, right? So you need to attack a kind of multifaceted. Or have a multifaceted attack to prevent and get the right tools in place, right?
Totally correct. And I have to say hats off to the Colombian government, hats off to the crime unit police in the country, that they have really figured out many ways to counterattack those threats.
Right.
And it doesn't end up here. It doesn't end up there. They're continuing striving to get more and more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And that's why they open the eyes and looking at solutions that comes not only for the specific countries, but to open the array of other countries that can actually provide them.
I was going to say they're bringing in knowledge from outside their own country to assist in solidifying a methodology.
I mean, that kind of makes me think all these data sharing rules they're not out the window when it comes to crime prevention, but I imagine there's a bit more willing to share.
You can do a lot of things on a phone, and especially if you're a hacker with no time in four walls.
Conversations in the Czech Republic can be key to evidence.
I think it's the dudes there in Colombia that are sending me the DPD messages saying you've got a parcel delivered. I'm like, all right, here's my credit card.
Bye-bye, your bank account gets flooded, it's out.
Exactly. A Motorola StarTAC rings in Bogota.
No, they have a business in Medellin. You don't know.
Medellin.
3 kids, but that's real. But let's keep it course.
So many questions, Colin. Now, I imagine that kind of these memorandums.
Water.
I'm doing it now. All these intention, of collaboration, all that kind of stuff. Are they bearing fruit? Or people actually is the data that perhaps they get from Czech Republic or whatever, or UK or America, helping solve these crimes or create the cyber defense?
Very good question. It's a work in progress.
Okay.
When it comes to execute those letters of intent or memorandums of understanding.
That's what I was trying to say.
There's MOUs.
Let's use MOUs.
There's a bit of also development funds being assigned to develop these solutions or develop these systems or these programs that can help them tackle those threats.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that, but everything strives on the will of the country, on the will of the private sector to help. So it's an effort. It's not that.
I was just going to say, how would you break those barriers down?
Yeah.
Because normally when you're working within governments, it's state run, state this, and getting
and
into
all
that
ring
business
fenced,
is
and there's
totally different than into the private sector. Isn't it?
Exactly, totally right. That's why you have to be able to set up the right instruments in place.
Okay,
right.
You have to be able to build that trust with your counterpart.
Yep.
You have to be able to find use cases that can be considered quick wins that can show results. Okay. Because let's get real. I mean, governments are here for 3, 4, 5 years period. And then you have to renew it and change. Everybody changes.
Yeah.
However, if you're able to structure a dynamic that takes you across time with support of well-executed programs based on really solid quick wins, I think that you have a really great opportunity to bridge that gap. And that's, for example, what the company I represent is looking to do in the region in Latin America. It's called Adastra Group, Adastra Business Consulting. It's a Czech company that I just mentioned before. We're bringing those technologies, we're bringing those solutions, we're bringing the interest and the motivation to bridge those gaps.
I see.
Gaps that are keep widening, and we can be able to apply those technologies. As I mentioned before, we have a company that has been working in AI solutions for past 3 years.
I was going to say, what with an AI are you doing that fits in with?
Is AI helping in these cyber defenses? Is it helping in these crime defenses? I mean, cyber is kind of a theme in the podcast, but crime any which way it comes,
But basically,
GPT, 4 bags of sniff.
Solve my problem.
Here's the number.
Enter. Yeah. Are you okay? That's not gonna solve. Well, let's focus on the topic.
Let's try.
Let's try. So when it comes to AI, there's no solution. Basically, it's not one solution fits all. It's not one solution.
True.
It's basically you have to understand what is happening within the company. Yeah. And besides that, there's a whole process before that. We're talking about data.
Sure. Yeah.
And garbage data in, garbage data out. So first of all, you have to have a really proper structure, framework in place to have proper data sets in order to be able to track them and to try to avoid those threats.
This always comes up. You never get clean data.
Doesn't matter how hard data starts mince, and it has to go through a cleaning up.
Exactly. That's why, for example, one of the key elements that the company I represent, Adastra, has been working on is on the data governance frameworks. Basically, use the DAMA book with a specific framework, 10 to 11 pillars, compared to other type of frameworks that are in the market that drives you through 38 type of transversal cross.
I feel the pain. Almost.
I'm already. We can.
It's like MITRE attacks, isn't it?
But by the time you've run it, somebody's owned your car.
Exactly.
Driven off.
You mentioned there were 4 principles. I can't remember what they were.
There were 4 P's of it.
Exactly. You're totally right. You're totally right. You focus on 4 P's. It's people. My name
more
is
than
People.
one.
Hi, I am Bob Peoples.
You know why they call me People? Because I kill people.
You can see the Peruvian influence there.
For sure. No, but let's talk about the 4 pillars. Let's talk about the 4 pillars of analysis when it comes to data governance frameworks. You have to figure out 4 things, 4 P's. First, people, platform, processes, and policies.
Right.
That's how you need to assess in order to get a proper data governance framework in place.
Proper data.
Proper data.
Swivel.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what you need to work on. But coming back to the question, the solutions that we provide, the solutions we deliver in AI, are company by company, use case by use
Specific.
case.
Okay, I see.
Most of those solutions are being developed for cybersecurity companies that provide their services in the Silicon Valley.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay.
So we are basically the cybersecurity company of the cybersecurity companies.
Yeah.
But that's another
Kind of
topic
like policing the
conversation.
police, but I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? So you got not everyone's safe.
Well, it's the same as the
and
big
the more
companies.
considerations you have going on, the better you have of chances
So
of
the
being
big
scoped.
companies we've worked
Yeah.
for, they don't develop in-house. They
exactly.
go out and they'll find a startup
Yeah.
or a smaller SME and
Exactly.
they buy them because their knowledge is
Yeah.
way better than an in-house where
Yeah.
you need to bring in the resources.
Yeah.
to do it. Then you've got more data security because you're trusting a third-party vendor
Yeah.
or a SaaS solution to do
yeah.
so.
That you say it right, and it's basically working on open innovation frameworks, working on the
Yeah.
data governance frameworks, and then, for example, I was on the call yesterday with this company, very interesting company, that what they're doing is they're building cybersecurity teams for companies in-house.
Right, yeah.
So they come in.
And teach your own cybersecurity teams. what to do.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
And they go with you when you're trying to acquire tech. That tech that you acquire within your ecosystem complies with all the cybersecurity requirements,
safe and secure.
ISO, PCIs, or whatever.
yeah.
You know that basically that can help you. So this industry is thriving, is growing, because at the end of the day, finally, people are starting to understand that data is oil.
It's the
They
new
start to
oil,
understand
right?
that
Yeah, I
it's
like
oil.
that. I like that,
It's
yeah.
basically if you
yeah.
know why you're doing data, if you think about it, if you put yourself in a situation, look at all these unicorns, the Booking.coms of the world, the
Yeah.
Amazon.coms of the world. These guys started with a proper data governance framework in place because they know they're monetizing the data. That's why they became a unicorn so fast. You
Yeah.
have cement companies, you have tire manufacturing companies, you have extrusion companies, plastic manufacturing companies that are generating insane amount of data that today they don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it's in the back garden.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's winning the ball.
exactly.
What do you want?
We're collecting it.
Ask Doris in return.
Can you imagine? If you can let's talk about this outside.
Ask AT&T. I think they just flogged 70 million contacts or something on the dark web.
Exactly.
Yeah, didn't mean it though.
No. What? 200 million?
Have it, yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
sitting down thinking, so what's going on?
Yeah.
Why these guys are growing so fast?
Sat with a unicorn in a pub.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's because they know how to use the data.
Very good
Simple
point.
as that. You can repackage it, package it, use it, sell it, partition it. You can do whatever you need to do with your data in order to monetize it in a proper structured way. That's why cybersecurity comes in, data governance comes in.
Yeah.
So basically what you're doing is to keep your data on check.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game.
Word, yeah.
Today and tomorrow and for the next 100 years. I believe so. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
You probably will be knocking about as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, exactly.
Hey, where's my thing?
Can you mince my wings?
If and of course, if it's a new oil, and of course oil's been around for a while, the value of it will. First of all, the data amount will only ever increase. Data points is collected on every person.
more
will
of the
only ever
data
increase.
just increases, yeah.
The value of the data. I heard something years. I don't know if it's relevant now, which is we create more data every day or every week than already exists. It's quite an exponential amount of growth.
It's insane.
And so the risk is it's trajectory high.
You're totally right. Now, for example, I was talking with this guy yesterday. I've been in a couple of meetings now since I arrived to Prague. It's interesting. You arrive to Prague and there's such a wealth of people knowing about what we're doing.
It would just make you trainer.
In the street,
By the way, hello to Marek. Marek, thank you, Marek. It's been, I know, 6 months I haven't showed up. So, but
been in
I'm
Latin
telling you,
America.
tomorrow, for sure I won't show up.
I'll be there tomorrow.
No.
It's not gonna. That's not gonna happen.
He's having a folk up.
So we were talking about the fact that, for example, now you can do with Google Navigation, Google Maps.
Yeah.
You can track, for example, for restaurants and bars, you can actually track the successful of campaigns based on the fact that you can actually track the person who finds directions for your restaurant or bar. Does it mean that
Somebody
arrives there?
uses sat nav to get you. Really?
Yeah. Now you can actually buy and track the fact that, for example, you go to Mesa Cruz directions on Google Maps, and that traffic is controlled now. We can see. Doesn't show that you show up.
Yeah, but it shows you on your way though.
yeah.
That you show you that you look for directions.
Yeah.
That's already a big step up.
So,
you know?
and I
Yeah.
imagine access to that data is down to how much you want to pay
So
for
it's
it.
gone
They've
from
already
it's
harvested
gone
it.
from football.
That's what
football
Google is. What
yeah.
Google is.
It's gone from football beacons.
Yeah.
to it's there already.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what is going. You name it. So this is one of the interesting things that is happening today in the world, and now in South America, you can see that the region is ripe for bridging this gap, you know, and it's one of the fastest growing regions in the world.
Right.
We have a really relatively young population, you know, compared to Europe, compared to the United States, and growing.
Yeah.
You know, you have people.
And these young people are early adopters and slightly ski whiff with the security
And
policies
there's
because they
no-
don't care. They'd rather have the freebie.
Because
or
the mum
webinar.
wants to know where they are.
Right.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode.
Kudos to airplane
yeah,
mode people.
We're all a big fan of airplane
We were
mode.
talking about a few things earlier whereupon airplane mode might have been important about all the kind of stuff
And
we
how-
can and can't talk about. You
How
know?
influential are governments in adopting data governance, security? Because you tend to find that it's ring fenced. So if something happens in a government, it doesn't get to anybody else
you know,
outside.
do you need to coerce them to kind
There
of be
you
more
go.
open?
Apart from this too.
Yeah.
That's
No one knows.
a very great. It's actually a great question because specifically I can tell you a little bit about it. So actually, that's a really relevant question. The reason is the following. In the governments in Latin America today, they are implementing, for example, there's an example. They're implementing data governance officers positions in state-owned companies or in state entities, right? So they have the best intention to create those structures, those within their system, you know. However, they lack the execution, meaning that we know that we need to have a chief data officer in our institutions, and probably in the future, in order to mirror that in the private sector, they will need to have chief data officers, which is where the tendency is going. However, when it comes to, for example, chief data officer means that you have to have a data governance framework in place, but they don't know what is a data. They don't know.
They don't have the skills to establish that,
and they don't have the skills to establish. So once the law, for example, was issued in one specific Latin American country, one specific Latin American country, once the law was issued, everybody started to run to appoint the chief data officer. But then when it comes to structure your framework for data governance,
it stops.
It stops because now we need to go to outside consultants, and then, for example, there's no consultants in the region who can do that because this is such a brand new thing, such a brand new trend. Understanding that the data is oil, is the new oil. But in Europe, my company, the company I represent, is doing that. So we go there and we start connecting with the dots. It turns out that they lack the skills, they don't have the capacity. They haven't even questioned how much it's going to cost to have these proper frameworks in place. Plus, there's no roadmap for it. So you have...
Because NIS2 is a European directive, isn't it? So it doesn't get over there.
No, in a National Institute, I think it's actually
it's
American.
Right.
But we adopt that because it's, where Carlos is going is, it became an understandable and implementable standard. So why would you reinvent the wheel? But I think for these guys, because it's so new... They want to get to the goal faster. This is why you're out proposing to collaborate with people in Europe and that sort of stuff, because there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly, they don't need to reinvent the wheel. But what is neat is to be able to have this expression of interest, to have the will to structure these synergies. You want to call it one way, in order to bring this to execution, to fruition. And that's what we're working on at the moment. And I think it's fantastic because being Peruvian, as I was born originally in Latin America, in South America, being able to at least help to bridge this gap, it's something that it gives you some kind of purpose in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you see it on a governmental level. You're really exposed to, because it's the whole nation who's affected by it. I mean, we work for pharma companies. We work for pharma. We affect patients' health. If there's a cyber attack within the company I work for, or Kenny works for, or you work for, then patients don't get their subscriptions or they don't get pills made.
Exactly.
It affects health.
And if you take it up a click to national level, you're looking at
everything,
power, electricity, water,
everything.
Well, not quite air, but air, and all the kind of essential services. Can you turn off
LG? Life's good.
Can you turn off air? I don't know if you can turn off. You can't
That
hack
was a
air.
good one,
Yeah, but all the kind of major
anything
services.
state, from
Exactly. This is the concept.
And when you talk about these memorandums of understanding being in place, does this accelerate things down from 10 years, 5 years to a week? No, I'm guessing we're not that fast, but
you totally. Well, let me say something about that, and it's about it's it's will, execution. The right person is not in the right place. That execution is not going to fly. And you have to be able to monitor since the beginning if it's going to be a waste of time or not a waste of time.
I see.
Depends on your day rate.
Depends on exactly.
Another 7 months.
Well, what we can do.
There's a 20% buffer.
Let's keep going. But then again, you want to do something, right? You want to execute something. You want to see something live kicking, and that's why the thing drive us. All the gentlemen here sitting at this table.
Yeah.
We want to see
you always want
happening.
to power it on, power it up, turn it off, turn
and
it on.
I know you have that track. Your track record is like that, execution, doing things, and we know that is the drive. There's a drive, and that's what we're trying to do. I believe that we're in the right moment. It's exciting times for Latin America. It's exciting times for the industry.
Yeah.
It's exciting times to be in this industry that actually does something of relevance to the human condition at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now more and more we keep getting interconnected. More and more we keep having our data.
We keep,
from A to B, C to D.
It was a theme from earlier in our podcast series when we talked about this connected for convenience thing. The marketing dollars going into being connected. It's really creating maybe hell. Really,
and now we're talking about zero trust. So it's like, thanks, hi, can't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
I think
It's full circle.
full circle where
Exactly.
instead of connecting things to be connected, you'll have it disconnected because dare I say you might sleep easier. And when you're talking state level stuff always being on, it's just a massive attack vector, and all the documentation and processes in the world are ultimately not going to protect when you consider the evolution of AVI and the speed at which attacks are happening now, and of course will happen.
So how do we see? Again, just throwing it out there in terms of you've been talking about public sector, the private sector.
Yeah.
How? I mean, clearly, it must be beneficial to all of us for sharing information and best practices.
Yeah.
So, like, you're seeing one side of two sides of a coin. You're seeing both sectors.
Yeah.
Because you're coming from a private sector into a public sector, or vice versa. And that knowledge gained very rarely leaks out of a governmental sector, but is mega helpful in building solutions, which seems you're actually in that door.
It's very interesting that you just set up the question like that, because what it makes me think is that we just got into a reality in where both interests are aligned, the private and the public sector. This is where we are both sides of the coin align. It's interesting because now you can see that there's a huge demand and interest from both
governments
sectors.
have always been ring fence, haven't they?
Exactly.
We're not telling you.
Exactly. But now they're like, guys,
we need you.
We need to do something, and we need to create data platforms for all the freaking data that we have in-house. We have regulation for oil perforation. We have regulation for gas in your house. We have regulation for Uber drivers. We need to have access to one source of truth
when it comes to data.
Exactly, when it comes to
and
data.
Governments are renowned the world over. We have a strategy. Fucking fabulous, but have you turned it on, plugged it in? Is it going to happen?
It should be called "Make My Bank Account Better."
Absolutely, or safer.
Or
Both.
Let's say
Exactly.
both.
Dial 4 for safety. And so, I imagine that the trend. I mean, of course, we'll get there. The question, of course, is if we're doing all of this fast enough, or is the investment there?
It intrigues me big time. That you've got an insight into governmental
to go
thinking,
from
and you're like, wow.
To use your experience to do as Danny said, to get into a government and really power some of these innovations is fabulous.
I believe. Thank you so much for that. And I believe that it works in the private sector, it works in the public sector. The idea is to build strategic partnerships. That's the main concept. It's you cannot be living in a silo anymore. You cannot be the owner of the whole truth anymore.
We can solve this problem 20 million times or do it 100 times and everyone benefit.
Exactly. And then you know what? And if you have an issue that you have cybersecurity here, you have an issue that you have data governance in place, you have an issue to showing to whom, we have all these frameworks in place that allows you to safely exchange data, which means exchanging goods and services. That's how. That's
and you would think that governmental structures and cybersecurity methods would be the best to go by because you're safeguarding the whole population.
Exactly. That's basically that's the most interesting fact.
And your voters.
Voters.
I vote for Carlitos.
I definitely vote. Now we should point out Carlitos is a well-renowned Czech Republic-based entrepreneur. So he has a sideline in restaurants and that sort of stuff. And I can't help but think this entrepreneurial spirit Carlitos helps you in these engagements and all that kind of stuff because you're looking for the business gain, cybersecurity, or indeed in the restaurant, flogging food. So I am.
He puts it so eloquently.
Thank you.
So you
remember cooking that bollocks?
Thank you, Stilligence.
Sorry, the elegant supply of very beneficial. You know what I mean? Very benefit. It's
Just say what you need to say. Say what you need to say.
Yeah, carry on, Kenny.
Waffle the pop.
Absolutely. So, if we consider all that entrepreneurial spirit, are you a restaurateur with a sideline in cyber, or you're a cyber guy with a sideline in restaurants?
Food is my passion. Food is my passion. You know, I've been since the move to Europe. I wanted to try something different and try tasty as well. And now for life, you know, for curiosity, I started getting into the digital world.
Yeah.
And that curiosity took on, you know, and I continue reading and studying and working. And then at the same time, I need to also feed my passion side.
You got the best of both worlds.
And it's quite fun. I mean, I studied loyalty. Like, actually, Danny and I had studied loyalty with a platform years ago where we looked at footfall and how you increase in the tracking and the tools available. And it was all based on some really golden data. And even we at the time were trying to legally monetize that and
we were gluing beacons above bars going, we know what you're doing.
Exactly. and we could literally tell, depending on if you had adopted the at table ordering, which I know is now more evolved, we could tell what people, how they got there, and what you pointed made earlier, and what you ate.
There you
so
go.
if we wanted to incentivize you to return, we could offer you a half price something based on your previous menu choices, right? So,
whereas most people, you know, you get into the cyber security thing, oh, you're hacking servers. No, it's data on your phone.
Data
where you going,
manipulated.
it's who you're meeting.
And the average user doesn't.
People just don't. They think cybersecurity. Oh, we're not interested. We don't.
No.
own a
He had
server.
a
We
bad
don't
rep.
own
He had a bad rep for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
It's not.
No.
It's
not.
It's in your hand.
You know, when we first signed up for Facebook, we didn't give a shit about our data.
No.
We wanted all the funnies, right?
Exactly.
And now, of course, these terms and conditions. You know, you get the email.
You put-
We've updated the T's and C's.
Yeah.
We can see fucking the rim of your.
Oh no, we're taking you.
Yeah.
You're going to prison because you uploaded a picture of your Johnson in 2007. It's not mine anymore.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. My
Sold
name is
it.
not. My name is now Roberta.
I am Paulina.
Paulina.
Gotcha.
Daniela.
I got banned a few months ago. It wasn't an inappropriate photograph. It was just a funny meme that I uploaded 12 years ago. And they told me they'd binned it. I'm like, that's
Because
fine.
now they're scanning everything.
Yeah,
and-
of course.
But as we say, data comes down to, you know, what you've got in your hand is the most powerful form of data because it's end user details.
Exactly. Totally follow. And it's basically the idea is that in countries like we mentioned now, Latin America, where there are no legacy systems. So they have leapfrog. They have leapfrog.
From zero to hero.
From zero to hero is where
But the generation's younger, so they still don't care.
Exactly.
Or shouldn't care enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's a great, interesting cradle to test things.
Yeah.
You know,
With
at
youth.
a different rate that
Yeah.
will cause you to test things in more developed countries.
Interesting. It's greenfield. You're like, there's nothing to base it on.
No.
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
You give an
So they've
example.
not had the negative experience of having their data still. Well, maybe they are, I should say.
I give an example. We're working now with a project. I was in touch with this gentleman in Lima. It's called the project Ghana Bus.
Easy for you to say.
A bus that wins. You know, Ghana Bus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a project. It's a project poised. It's a project poised. Ghana Bus.
can we get a round of shots?
No, it's a project poised to move 2 million passengers a day.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's a 2 million passengers a day because they have leapfrog all these legacy systems.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity now. They want to create a system interconnected, sponsored by one of the biggest credit cards because it's not going to be paid by coins or by
No, it's cashless.
by
Of course not.
cashless.
Because they get the data on the spend, yeah.
Advertisement in all the buses. Where you keep your eyes.
Yeah.
Where you keep
Oh,
your
no,
track,
that's creepy.
How you
Minority Report.
How you
I was going to
push-
say,
how
when you
push
walk
the-
past the Gap store and it says, hello, Danny boy.
Minority Report.
How's
isn't it?
the trainers you bought last week?
Flashes up a naked
but,
wallet.
but let me tell you, Minority Report. But if you have a proper data governance in place, framework,
That's okay.
If you have proper cybersecurity, you can actually use those benefits.
Yeah.
You can
Yes,
use
no,
what
I know.
technology brings you.
We've always,
But you need to have
Embrace
those
it,
frameworks
yes,
in place.
we always assume that data, surrendering data is a horrendously bad
It's
thing.
not.
It's not. You can be good for so long as it's protected and all that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
data governance frameworks allows you to give roles to people looking at your
Yeah.
data. Name data stewardesses, data stewardships, data responsible, data quality people. There's a lot of possibilities to structure the data in a way that is safe, secure.
Yeah.
And if you put on top of that layer, cybersecurity technologies, we're talking about a fantastic way to make the impossible possible.
Yeah.
Me getting able to get the most out of my data in the most safest way.
Yeah. We need to flip it a little bit. So instead of our data being sold, start using the data that we're
Exactly.
And
surrendering.
people have realised that data is mainly, it's our names, it's where we live, it's our phone numbers, it's our bank details.
Well, Facebook's
People
got
think,
150
oh no, it's,
yeah.
you're using an application, it's you. No, yeah, but that's HR, so
and
that's
you get
your
these
funds that are going
data.
around.
Exactly.
If you look at the the Cambridge Analytica data way back when. They did a massive amount of.
Was that the Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. They knackered
That guy.
That guy. They did a data aggregation amongst a whole bunch of stuff, and the things they could infer was frightening. I mean, I think they started to influence and do ads to negatively influence.
But I totally get it. I mean, if you want to infer data, you infer data, but with the right frameworks in place,
it works.
But it works. Why not? I would love to. We were talking about the advertisement that I need to receive now in order to not get my data shown up. I get spare parts for Caterpillar machines. What I want to do with Caterpillar machines?
What you used to do previously, would you open a Yellow Pages and guess what? There's your name, there's your address, there's your phone. No one had a problem with that. There's a fucking phone book in the phone book.
They would literally post a phone book to all your neighbours.
No one cared that. What's the postman? He's got your address. He's got your name.
Yeah, exactly.
The world's gone balmy.
Absolutely. Now, conscious of time, colleagues, we must wrap this up. So if I do this summary, I just think about a man who started with us in Peru many years ago, came to Europe, used his passion for food, and ended up in cybersecurity. What a wonderful career.
I've seen different sides of him.
Yeah. Carlitos,
I think sums it up.
Exactly about the size of it. Thank you so much, my man, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Pleasure, brother. Hermano, gracias. And again, thanks to Intelligence who power the podcast. Any details below you want to find out, if you're looking for a career, you're looking for jobs, you want to recommend your granddad to do something, it's all in the box below. Subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you very much again, and we're going to get Carlitos back.
Yeah.
And
for some of those stories that we can,
we'll post there. You get a 10% discount on the on a couple of restaurants.
Yeah,
I've just given away your food.
Wait a minute, what's going on?
He's screwed. So from us around the table, it's bye-bye.
See you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers,
Thank you,
all.
guys. Bye-bye.